just made connections. I made friendships. I networked, and people remembered me. And they called me, and I just kept hustling to the next job, to the next job, to the next job. Next thing you know, I graduated film school. I'm already in with Silver Slide Records. You got to think about the timing, and you got to thank God for this. I got to give God the glory. Here I am, graduating in the summer of 2001. I done made a good name for myself on the production assistant level in the industry, and I'm with the hottest label in the South at that time. Silver Slide Records in 2001, when Trick Daddy had Take It to the House out, had I'm a Thug out, he had all these big records out. I'm already in with the I'm Their Guy. So now I'm meeting these new big directors that's doing these big videos for them now, making friends with them. And then next thing you know, I get the opportunity to do a music video, not with Trick, but with somebody else because of my, because of my relationship with Trick Daddy and Silver Slide. It was like, well, hey, can you come do a video for us? And that was 02.
Get into it, Antwan, man. Good day, my brother. Thank you for coming all the way from Miami. Because you know, funny thing is about my people that live in Miami, they tell me it's so far. And I'm thinking like I go to Miami every week like it's a regular ride. I was there yesterday, but when I tell somebody from Miami to come up, they're like, Palm Beach? What? I'm not coming all the way up here. Man. So when I told you to come up, you were like, I'm on it. I'm with you. Let's get it done.
Yep.
But when you heard Palm Beach, that's when you got a little uncomfortable. Be honest with me.
I was like, "Oh, you in West Palm Beach? Okay,
I'm gonna schedule a whole day for this."
Basically, listen, you gotta realize you've been a Miami dude, born and raised, and I'm from the South Side of Miami. I'm from the Palmetto Bay, Kendall,
all the way in the bottom,
Cutler Ridge area. So, and this is like coming to Orlando.
Oh
right
my
now. This is like driving to Orlando right now.
You're all the way in Orlando right now.
Basically.
You guys are terrible. So today we have my peoples, man, a good brother of mine from the industry, Antwan Smith. Any middle name you want me to put in there, or just Antwan?
Antwan Smith is good enough.
Smith. I don't want to give you a whole government.
Exactly.
This brother's been in the production, film, music videos, whatever in that space for how long, Antwan?
I've been doing this professionally, you know, as far as getting paid to be a director since 2002, but I've been in the industry as a production assistant since 1997, so about 25 years.
25. You did a whole bit in this industry,
still
going.
It's still going.
Antwan actually is the director, producer of the Trick Daddy show,
Bitch, I Got My Pots.
Bitch, I Got My Pots. So
yeah,
we ain't gonna start this. Let's go all the way from the bottom. You're born and raised in Miami.
Yeah, born and raised in Miami. I'm from a community called West Perrine, and that's just below Kendall, but before Homestead. And born and raised, grew up there, love my community, and I've always appreciated the community I grew up in just because of the people I went to school with and the people that I had around me, my neighbors.
Culture.
The culture. That's the word I'm looking for. The culture down there.
So born and raised with who? Are you born and raised with your mom and dad, or?
Yeah, listen, basically, I had my mom and dad together since up until I was about 10 years old. And my parents, they split up they split up around when I was 10 years old. And then I had my grandmother and my dad raising me up because my mom moved to Georgia.
Okay.
And so I had to...
Brothers, sisters?
I do have one sister. She lives in Atlanta, Georgia now, Angel. Angel's about maybe 23, 24 right now. She was a late bloomer, but
right.
I love her to death. And
So you grew up with... You were as the only child until 10 years old.
I was the only child until I was in my 20s.
Oh, gosh. One of the spoiled ones. But how was it living with both parents in that home? You know, what did that feel like?
I'm going to tell you something. You know, my mom is about almost 10 years younger than my father. So I grew up having with a young mother. She was a young mother, and she took me everywhere she went, to the movies, grocery shopping, hanging out with
You
her
guys dated a
girlfriends,
lot.
basically. And my dad, he was always a disciplinary, and he worked and did his thing as a father. And I never had I had a fun childhood, up until the mid '80s when my parents split up.
Separated.
Yeah,
Well, give me that outcome. How did that affect you?
I'm gonna tell you something. Being 10 years old and seeing your mom and your dad kind of fuss and fight a little bit leading up to that, and then find out they're gonna get a divorce, it only affected me in the sense that, damn, now I have to go, see my mom. She first moved up to Liberty City before she moved to Georgia. So now every weekend I have to now leave where I live at to go see her. And that was the only thing that affected me because, I love being around my friends. Yeah, I love being around my friends. I love seeing my mom and dad together because that's what I grew up the first 10 years seeing. So it was a little bit of a change.
Difficult challenge. So you said you were raised by your father
and my grandmother.
Your father, your grandmother.
Yeah, father. Yeah.
What type of relationship did you and your grandmother have?
Oh man, my grandmother, she was my mother. She was my part-time dad. She was everything. I had a great relationship with her, and she made sure I had everything I needed. I never, listen, I would like to say we were middle-class Black folks, but even we weren't, let's just say we were poor, my grandmother never let me feel that. She
was always there.
I was always there. I had everything I needed growing up. And then I had my father, which a lot of kids at that time, due to drugs and it being the mid 80s, late 80s, fathers weren't in these kids' lives. I still had my dad and to make sure I stay in school and do the right thing. And I had my grandmother filling in the void of my mom.
So do you think that is a big foundation of who you are today?
Absolutely, because I grew up in a neighborhood. Paran was sort of kind of a war zone sometime during the 80s because of the drug era and the crime during the late 80s. But like I say, my grandmother, my father, I was shielded from all that stuff. I grew up in a nice house in West Moran, and I had everything. I got a bike. I had good Christmas. I had everything I needed in life. So that definitely shaped me to who I am now. It kept me off the streets.
So growing up in Miami in late 80s, early 80s, late 80s, when your family adjusted, did you guys stay down in Paran for that time?
Yeah.
You guys stay down there.
Yeah. My father, my grandmother, all like I say, everyone was kind of based in the Paran area. So I grew up in Paran. I didn't move from the Paran area till I turned about maybe 18, 19 years old when I was in film school. I got my own apartment in Cutler Ridge, which is 5 minutes away from Paran. So,
but how was the culture there? How was the culture? Like, you spoke about how much that influenced you. Speak a little bit about the culture in that area.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. Paran, like I said, we were that little small community down south, because basically everybody know about Liberty City and Brownville or Brown Sub and all those areas. But Paran, we was our own little Iraq down there. It was a little crazy. But all the neighbors knew each other. And it was that old saying how the neighbors could whoop you if you're doing something bad. And and they would do that. And like the culture just was good. I mean,
family.
Yeah.
Well, it's family.
Yeah.
So then you decide to go to film school. Like what? How did you even get to that point?
Good question. I'll give you a short version. My memory as a child go back as far as I was 3 years old. I can actually remember what I was doing when I was 3 years old. Not two, not one, but 3 years old. So my parents used to take me to see R-rated movies when I was about 4 years old. Like, they had no babysitter. So I remember going 1980. I remember going to see Richard Pryor's when he was a race car driver, Bustin' Loose. I seen Bustin' Loose and the one when he was a race car driver back in the early 80s. And I was like 4 years old. 5 years old, one of those films I was 5 years old. And I remember like just enjoying these R-rated movies. And then remember early 80s, this was the introduction of cable TV. So, my family being the way we were, we weren't poor. We had a few dollars. We got cable. We had cable since like 1981, 82. We had a little big ass box, everything. And I'm watching like HBO. I'm watching the movie channel. I'm watching all these premium cable channels in 1981, 82, every day after school. I used to be home alone on the teacher's work day. I didn't go to no babysitter. Them the days you could stay home.
Figure it out.
And I grew up loving movies because I had access to it as a child.
So then you decided at 18 to go. What film school did you go to?
I went to a school in downtown Miami called Miami International University of Arts and Design. It's owned by the Art Institute right now, and I graduated when I was 18 years old. I didn't go to film school to about a year and a half later. I took like a year off from school, and I entered school. I graduated in 1994. I didn't enter school until about the winter of '97. And
Did you knew already from back then you wanted to do this?
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, just to take it back just a little bit. I knew in high school when I was about 11th grade that I wanted to be somewhat in the film industry because we had an assignment where we had to do a play, and I was an actor in it, and I thought I was gonna be an actor because I wanted to be an actor. But then we did one exercise where, okay, you be the director and you direct this actor over here, and I did it, and I just loved mimicking what I would see on TV. Like, okay, you do this and you do that. I just love it. And from 11th grade on to when I graduated in 12th grade, I was like, you know what? I want to go into the film industry. I didn't want to be nothing else but a director since I was 11th grade.
Wow.
And, yeah.
So, and then right when you were done with film school, did you get right into the industry or?
Yeah, I did. Like I say, I graduated in 94. I was already honing my craft as a filmmaker in 95, 96, doing home movies. One of my best friends loaned me $400 to go buy the big box camera, home entertainment, go buy at Walmart or Kmart at the time. And I spent about 2 summers just playing with that camera, just honing my film skills. And then in 96, I applied for college. Got in the summer. I went, January 97 was the winter semester. I entered in the winter semester, never looked back.
So basically you already knew what you wanted to do. You was already passionate about it. You knew you needed to invest in it right away.
Right.
Like, what was that mindset had to be like for you to do all that?
Well, at the time, I didn't have any sense of urgency because I'm just a young kid. I'm 18, 19, going on maybe 20 years old at the time. Well, about 20 years old at the time because I took a couple years off. And it was no sense of urgency. Like, I just know when I got in film school, I was going to try to soak up all the knowledge that I can because I just wanted to be just like Spike Lee. And I know he went to, Morehouse and he went to New York University. And I just know, look, I just want to get all my education so I can learn to be as good as Spike Lee. So
how did he become your ideal person that you want to be like?
Good question, because when I started falling in love with cinema, like at least being a filmmaker, in high school, I don't know, all I knew was Spike Lee. Like, I knew it was other black film directors, but I grew up watching Do the Right Thing in 89. I remember going to see Jungle Fever in 91, and Mo Better Blues in 1990. So I only really knew Spike Lee. And I was like, look, this is the guy I want to be like. So that's why he became the standard and the motivation for me.
So is that an important thing that also got you to another level, was finding somebody that you could look up to and be that ideal person for you?
Absolutely, because Spike Lee set the standard very high. So when you're trying to be as good as your idol, you have to hone your skills and be just as good as him. And that definitely was my motivation and why I paid attention to school.
So then, like, what did you started doing right after you felt, Spike Lee's that guy?
Right.
Well, I know the next step was school, but then within school, what did you start doing?
Okay, good question. I went to school, a lot of kids went to the big University of Miami, was paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school. My school was a small college, but they wanted to mimic University of Miami so bad. So they would put us in the field to go do short films. They would assign us thesis films and, to go make a little mini movie for a grade. So this is how I started honing my skills is through my college. They would tell us to go do 3 short films this semester. You're going to get graded. So they would teach us how to do this stuff, and we'd study our book work, and they'll say, okay, you got to go do your short films. So I was really learning how to be a filmmaker from like my first year in film school. I was honing my skills. And on top of that, I have to give credit to music videos. I'm a big BET, MTV advocate since I was a kid. So I really learned filmmaking, not just doing it in film school, by watching BET and MTV, Rap City and, whatever was out at the time, TRL or Rap City at the time. And that helped me be a great filmmaker because I was watching many short films on TV every day, aka music videos. So
and even that, because that's not that's not around as much as
Right.
before.
Right.
Probably on YouTube you're able to watch it.
Yep.
But was there any other influence other than Spike Lee within the school? Was there a teacher that really held you down, or your circle, you guys locked in as a group to actually start activating that in your life?
That's a great question. I have to say that was one teacher, Mr. Ernest Goodley. And I hope he get to see this podcast episode.
You can send it to him.
Yeah, he was. He became my second year of film school. He became the head of the film department, and this was an African American teacher who had done film and been successful in it. And I'm gonna tell you something. For being one of them, I was one of them. It was probably like me and maybe 3 other Black people in the class, of a class of 20-something students. He was very hard on me, and he challenged me because it was times where he knew I had greatness in me, but I was sometimes a little mediocre in the work I would turn in, and some of the outcomes of some of my short films when he knew I could be better. So he was like, "Yo," I turned him in a short film that was crap. He let me know it was crap. He's not gonna be like, "Oh, don't worry, brother, do a better job next time." He'll say, "Hey, this is garbage. You could write better than that. You can write stuff without putting so many curse words in it. You can stay after school and learn how to work your camera better." And he challenged me. So I have to credit him on me taking film school even more serious and wanting to be better when I came out.
So speak about that challenge. I think a lot of people dislike challenges, but speak on a little bit about how important that challenge was for you and how you got better from being challenged.
Well, other than my film school challenges I got from Mr. Goodley, when I came out of film school, I'm not a white filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker coming out of USC, so I don't have Warner Brothers waiting for me to get in my short film so they can give me a job. When I come out of school, I'm not in Hollywood. I'm in Miami, Florida. There's no scene out here. There's no Hollywood out here at that time. So the only way to get on is you have to go knock down the doors of some record labels that'll maybe let you come on board and shoot some music videos for them. And I got lucky while I was in school. I wrote letters to Luke Records. I wrote letters to Slip and Slide Records. I even wrote records to my man Frank Murray. He had a label. He's actually from Carver Ranches. He had a label. Forgive me, Frank, for not remembering the label, but they were making a lot of noise. He was like becoming a little mini Master P out here. So I wrote letters to all these people, said, "Hey, I'm in my 3rd year of film school."
Wrote letters.
Real letters. Was no type of computer and send an email. No, we writing real letters, licking the envelopes, putting the stamp on there. We mailing it.
You definitely old, Antwan.
So I know. But I wrote letters, and look, these people hit me back. I spoke to all 3 people. I got to meet Luke. I got to talk to Frank Murray. People from his office did call me back, but it was Slip and Slide Records that hit me back and say, "I'll tell you what, come into the office on this day." And when I come into the office on this day, this is like November 1998. I wrote 100 letters over the whole summer and early fall.
Before you finish that story, I want you to, not because I think it's a good story, but that process of finding a way by all means necessary. Yeah. Because I want you to speak on that, because I think that grind and that testimony, the testimony in that, I really think very few know that process today. Yeah. Of finding a way. Could you talk on that?
Yeah. Basically, listen, you're in the industry where there's, 2,000 directors, there's 2,000 writers, there's 5,000 actors. You have to come out there and want to go get it, because nobody's going to really give it to you. And that's a true statement. Like, it's 2,000 to me when I'm graduating from film school. So I have to go out there to go get it. Some people say I don't have money for college, so I can't go to film school. Good. Okay, no problem. Just grab your camera. Now you can grab your iPhone. You can make a movie on your iPhone. You can edit on your iPhone. I mean, I've seen some incredible iPhone music videos. And you have to go do it. You have to go create the content and find a way. And if you don't, you're going to be left behind. And go ahead.
So when you got to Slip and Slide Record, what did you start doing?
Yeah.
They said come in one day. You just
I came in one day and they was like, "Yo, we're getting ready to shoot this music video next month, and you can come intern for us, meaning work for free." That video was Trick Daddy's You Don't Know Nan video with Trina, the one that his breakout record. So I'm sitting in a production meeting in the office in like late November where they got the director on a conference call and I got Ted Lucas and a whole bunch of people in the office where they're just talking about the concept at this
Off
time.
of one letter.
Off of one letter. And I basically came to the office in November of 98 and I didn't leave until about 2004.
So that opportunity,
yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So getting that opportunity from you just believing, but they didn't even offer you money.
Nope. They said you come work for free. And
what made you stay?
I'm gonna tell you something. I wanted it bad. Like, listen, I didn't care about no money. I just wanted to be on set. I know I wasn't directing, but I wanted to be close enough to the director where I can watch the process to see how do they make these movies, how do they do these music videos, how do I see what I see on MTV. And I was cool with that. And I knew I had to pay some dues. And I paid my dues. And here I am 25 years later, 24 years later, talking to you.
Still your client.
Yeah, still my client, talking to you, doing what I love to do, just make movies.
So that's crazy. So because you still working with Trick Daddy today. So you went from a letter, working for free, to still servicing him from that foundation. I think that's so important because I think it's a lost thing. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of interns or, everybody believe the moment they buy a camera, they're the biggest and the baddest right away, which we know that's not true.
Absolutely.
So go ahead, keep on going with the working at.
Yeah. And really before I even got the opportunity, I was a production assistant, meaning I was just a little helper or a little runner on music videos. I got the opportunity to work on the Will Smith Welcome to Miami video. We shot that Labor Day weekend, 1998. That was September, before my Slip and Slide meeting.
How was that experience?
Man, listen, can you imagine your first big music video you working with Will Smith?
How'd you even get into that?
Because what I did was when I got into being a production assistant, a friend of mine introduced me to some people at a production company called South Beach Productions. Joyce Behar, which is still a good friend of mine, she's one of the producers over there. And I just went over there and let her know, hey, I'm in film school. You guys ever need some production assistants, call me. And listen, not only they called me for a lot of their music videos, some of the people that worked on those jobs went to do bigger jobs, and they would call me and say, Twan, hey, I'm working on this this Jay-Z video. I'm working on this Will Smith video. Are you available? Oh, I'm available. And I was able to get on the Will Smith video, and I was his driver for like 3 days. I was his driver.
To me, I think one of the things that inspired me in your process.
Yeah.
So you left school as a director, producer. You had that degree or that certificate to say that. Yeah. You then had to humble yourself down and ask to help, to bring value.
That's right.
Like, speak about that. And how did someone tell you need to do that? Or you just knew in order for me you just want to get an opportunity? Yeah,
I'm going to tell you something. This whole business is about relationships. I kind of learned that early on in maybe 1997 when I started being a production assistant. You have to make friends with your crew members because your crew members go off to work other jobs after the job that you're on. And I just learned early on, you're going to go a long way if you're a good person and if you make contacts. And I was networking hard with all my coworkers, and they were calling me, hey, I know this nice kid, he works hard, let's bring him on to this Jay-Z video. I got a chance to work with Jay-Z in late 1998. He did a video with Timberland out here called Lobster and Scrimp. You can look that up on YouTube. It's called Lobster and Scrimp, not shrimp. And we did that video December of 1998, I remember, and I'm working with Jay-Z. I got on that job not because they knew to call me into production. Somebody I work with said, hey, I know a kid who work hard, he got a good attitude, call him. And they called me, and now I'm working with Jay-Z. And went on to work with the same production company. They did a DMX video the next month, that January of 99. And I went on to work with Whitney Houston. I did a Whitney Houston video as a production assistant. That was January 1999, the Heartbreak Hotel that was shot here with Kelly Price and Faith Evans.
So you just kept on rolling in.
Kept rolling. Yeah.
All from the first relationship, the first sacrifice. And you just when did you start making the money in that process?
Okay.
Were you getting paid already in that
Yeah,
program?
yeah. I started getting paid around the Will Smith video. I think production assistants. Back then they were making like $150, and I worked for like 3 days plus overtime. So I made listen. I made about $500-$700 with overtime off that Will Smith video, and that was a lot of money for me in '98. And I just kept
And doing what you love.
and doing what I love. And from that point on, I was getting paid because everybody remembered me from the Will Smith video. So now these production companies are now calling me for the other big ones that they're doing in Miami. And they just kept going, kept going. But at this time, I'm not making money as a film director because I'm still in school. I didn't graduate to '01. And now in 2001, after I get my degrees.
So you were still a student.
I was still a student. That's what I'm trying to say. I
Wow.
was still a student this whole time. I'm still a student up until the summer of 2001.
So nobody told you, hey, Antwan, you need to go work here or do this. You already knew in your mind, I want to be in this position.
Yep.
I'm going to find a way to just hustle my way in that.
Basically, you hit it on the nose. I just made connections. I made friendships. I networked, and people remembered me. And they called me, and I just kept hustling to the next job, to the next job, to the next job. Next thing you know, I graduated film school. I'm already in with Civil Slide Records. You got to think about the timing, and you got to thank God for this. I got to give God the glory. Here I am, graduating in the summer of 2001. I done made a good name for myself on the production assistant level in the industry, and I'm with the hottest label in the South at that time. Civil Slide Records in 2001, when Trick Daddy had Take It to the House out, had I'm a Thug out, he had all these big records out. I'm already in with the I'm their guy. So now I'm meeting these new big directors that's doing these big videos for them now, making friends with them. And then next thing you know, I get the opportunity to do a music video, not with Trick, but with somebody else because of my relationship with Trick Daddy and Civil Slide. It was like, well, hey, can you come do a video for us? And that was '02. I did a video for a little the boy band thing was really big in the early 2000s, and I did a video for a boy band group. I can't remember their name. And the video came out okay, but it was my introduction.
You're honest, boy.
Yeah, it was my introduction to directing and getting paid for it. And I never looked back.
What was the process like? So how do you start to finish a productions? I mean, a director. A music video.
Well, basically, music videos are easy. Basically it starts out with just listen to the song. And sometimes the artist will give you an idea, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking for a visual for the song. You take that, put it to paper and the concept, give it back to them, let them approve it. Once they approve it, you budget it out. You set how many days it's going to take to shoot, and you basically go shoot it. It's an easy process, but the scary part is just getting on set. Once you're on set and you got 20 crew members, you got the artists.
Because everything's on you.
Yeah, everything's on me. You cannot mess up because these music videos back then, it wasn't such thing as doing a video for $5,000 in 2001 or 2002. People were spending $15,000, $20,000, and that was considered low budget back then. Like if they're gonna give you a low budget video, and really, to be honest with you, $250,000 in 2001 was considered a low budget video. Like if you got approved for a $250,000 video, people laughed at you like, that's all they gave you? Can you imagine $250,000 being considered low budget? So you had a lot of money that the label gave you to produce their video, and man, it was a lot of pressure on a young director just coming out of film school, but I managed through it.
So when did it start going to the different budgets from the 25,000 to?
Oh man!
So when's the first one that you got a real number in?
It wasn't until, remember, I have Civil Slide since '98, making my bones, graduated in '01. I didn't really start getting the big budgets until 2007. This is when Civil Slide Records introduced me to Plies, the rapper. This is when they was launching his project, and they did a couple of small videos with him that did well, and then his record started, his buzz started to get bigger when him and T-Pain came out with a record called Shawty. And after Shawty, Plies wanted to do another record that the label didn't really want to pay for, but it was a good street record. So Ted was like, all right, Twan, I got to pay for this. We ain't got no money, but he want to do this record. Don't mess up. So they give us $15,000, which, it's not a lot of money, But we take that 15 grand, we go shoot a record called 100 Years. If you Google that, it's like, we probably got 20 million views on that. That was a record that made Plies' first record move. Shawty did his thing to give him a buzz, and he got some good first week numbers. But when 100 Years dropped, the streets really was like, okay, I mess with this guy Plies.
So, and to stay in that topic, you guys affect records sales.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I messed with Plies. I just saw Plies, at the Trick Daddy 25th anniversary concert we did back in August. And him and I just joked about it. Like, I always remind him, like, Plies, you only got that gold record from the Testament. That's the first album called The Testament, because I did that 100 Years video for you.
Just want to be clear.
Because when we dropped the video, when a record come out, you get the big first week and it just decline. That was, Shawty came out before the record dropped, before the album dropped. So
the single.
The single. So by the time the record come out, it did the numbers it want to do. It's going to go down. We did 100 Years video. We dropped the video. It wasn't a record on the radio. We dropped the video. Sales started going up, and he got his gold album. It went up after we dropped 100 Years video. Not the single. It was never a single. The video. And Plies owed me one.
He owed you one, absolutely.
And he was a loyal dude. I did a lot of records with Plies. I got to give him to him. We have a good chemistry. He's a crazy dude. I love him to death. And he challenges you, too, to be great. He's not going to just give you his money and say, go shoot. He's going to make sure you're on point, and that's why I love him, man.
So then budgets started growing, and you started doing more shows. So after that, what kind of were you doing film now, or was more music videos then?
We kind of bounced around on timeline. But before I get up to Plies in 2007, I graduated film school in 2001, and like I said, because I had a good reputation on the streets and people know my work ethic, I got an opportunity to do a little small movie called Bloodline. Friend of mine named Fence over at Icons Music Group wanted to do a movie about two brothers. They get split up. One become a cop, one become a drug dealer, and they run into each other as adults and clash. And 2003, he was like, "Look, I want to write this movie," and so I co-wrote the script with him. We shot the movie in 2004, and we did some pickup shots in 2005, and we put the movie out in 2005. We screened it, and man, it become an instant classic. Like, not my favorite movie, but people loved Bloodline. It's called Bloodline: The Sibling Rivalry.
The storyline was good.
Yeah, people love that storyline, and we had bids from Universal Pictures, not to put it in theaters, but to do the home entertainment. So that's when VHS and DVDs were big, and we had majors coming out there saying, "Okay, we see this buzz, we hear about this buzz, let's do a deal," and we ended up going with Cold Black / Universal. Cold Black is the production company that did the Tupac movie back in 2016, 17, whenever it came out. And they had a partnership with Universal Home Entertainment Division. And we went with them, and the movie came out and got re-released in 2007. And we just did the 15th year anniversary back in first week of September of the film being released.
So that's amazing. I think right now, well, go a little backwards still, staying at 2001, 2007, and ongoing. So what's some of the names that you work with that really was like, man, I got something from this that actually shifted things for you?
Well, I got to say Plies. Doing the Plies videos really shifted.
How many Plies videos did you do?
I did about 7 videos. I can't name them all, but we did about at least 7 videos. Plies would do a lot of street videos with me that's not going to be as singles, come out as singles. So we did a lot that didn't really hit MTV, but we did a lot that he would put out independently on his MySpace at the time and YouTube page. But the 100 Years video was a big turning point for my career, because then, remember, this is 2007. Rick Ross, who was signed to Seven Side Records, I met Ross. I will do the Ross story later. But he started, although I knew him since 2001 at the time, he didn't really, when it was time to do music videos, he was using Gil Green and big directors like that was established. After he saw the 100 Years video, even Ross hit me up and was like, okay, like, we need to do something. And we ended up doing like 2 or 3. Me and Ross did like 2 or 3 videos from his Triller album that came out in 2008. Because remember, 2007 is when me and Plies was blowing up. So 2008, Ross releases Triller, I do about 3 videos off there. I think one of them was a single. The other one was just street videos that the label wanted to put out. And I just took off from there. Then I started doing videos with Trina, because I'm blowing up with Plies. So now I was like, okay, Twan, here goes some Trina videos. And that's when that's when things started to turn after the Plies 100 Years video.
That's one thing.
That's when the label started calling me, not just Slip and Slide Records. Atlantic Records was calling me to do videos for other artists. And by the time you and I met, I'm working with Chris Brown at the time. I'm getting.
That's when I met you at the set of Chris Brown.
Set of Chris Brown, and Jay Mills. Jay Mills was signed to Young Money when Young Money was at the peak of his popularity. So this is what happened when I did the 100 Years video. By the time you met me, I'm now doing videos with Cash Money, with Jay Mills and Chris Brown. And
even that experience alone, Antwan, I want you to speak a little about for people that's in the industry that's gonna be inspired by this content.
Yeah.
Like, speak about what a day looked like in a large set. Because from what I remember, you had so many different pieces, because you guys had from the models coming in to or people that want people to wear their product to it was so many different pieces. And what does a set look like for a day? Because it wasn't as a regular. It was from 8 a.m. to 2, 3 in the morning.
But you was there.
It was a lot.
I want to say my man B, he was there. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give it to you in a quick 60-second nutshell. Like, on a video of that magnitude, where you got Chris Brown and Jay Mills and superstars on set like that, you're going to be in for a 14-hour day. I mean, a straight 14-hour day with 1.5 hour lunch break. Not an hour, 1.5 hour lunch break. So, yeah, we're going to start, sometimes 6 in the morning for the sake of math. We start 6 in the morning. And listen, you got 20 crew members, sometimes 30 crew members. Then you have the artists and their entourage / management / record label people coming to the set. So you got to deal with another at least 15 people. And then you have to manage the talent that's coming on set, models and actors and all of that stuff. So you deal with all that the first 3 hours of your day. And then everything else is just shooting, setting up, dealing with the artists. These guys superstars, they not really don't really enjoy the process of sitting on a set for 14 hours. So you have to manage that, and it's straight shooting, moving lights around, shooting, moving lights around, get your half-hour break. And then hopefully if the artist, isn't pissed off by that last 3 or 4 hours of the shoot, you finish your shootout, you shoot, and hopefully you don't run into too much overtime, and you wrap up, go home, and maybe have to do it again the next day, because some of these videos back then were not just one day shoots like they are now. Sometimes you shoot for 2 straight days or 3 days in a row.
So that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because everybody had to sit on the set, because then you got to shoot B-roll content.
That's right.
From the beginning, and then the superstars come on and all that.
Absolutely.
So in that process, you have, when your 20-man crew as a director, you have production.
Yeah.
You have what's some of the positions you have in that set?
Yeah, I named some, and sometimes a position, it takes 2 or 3 people. You got myself, you got the assistant director, you got the producer, you got a production coordinator. The coordinator would be somebody you might have spoke to when you got there. You want to know where to park. You want to know where can you put your camera gear, where can you sit down at. Production coordinator will tell you that. You got the cameraman, aka the DP. You got the assistant cameraman. You got the grips, the electrics, the swing, the production assistant. You got hair and makeup. I think you
got to manage all that.
You have to manage all that. I just think
stay in budget.
And stay in budget. And I think I just named off 15 people already, and that's just half the people already. So it's a lot of positions that got to get filled on bigger videos, and you have to manage all of that.
So, but do you don't bring all 20 if it's not as big as a video or as big as a...
That's correct. Yeah, sometimes you may do a small music video where you only need maybe 10 crew members. Yeah, it all depends on the size and budget of the production. The video you and I, that you came on to, we had Chris Brown, so we got to have, we have to move fast.
It was crazy.
Yeah, Chris Brown's not here to be sitting for 12 hours. Chris Brown here to work 3 or 4 hours, and he needs to get out of there. So you have to have that manpower to move through your sets fast, light them, put them lights up fast.
So so going after the Chris Brown video, you kept on growing and creating other content. Now, is it videos you love more, or is film creating more, content as far as film production?
Good question. Well, when I graduated film school and when I was a kid and when I was in high school, my goal was to always be Spike Lee. Spike Lee mostly did movies, so my goal was to always do movies. Music videos fell into my lap as a road to do music videos, but to do movies. What happened was I actually kind of fell in love with music videos. It's something fun about being able to do a short film. That's what I would call music videos at the time. Every week, I get to make a mini movie every week and make a lot of quick money. And I fell into that music video trap for about a decade, where I wasn't really pursuing movies. I was just racking up all these music videos. I mean, I've worked with everybody from Diddy. I done been on set with Jay-Z. Me and Timbaland done did some projects together. I've been with every artist I grew up watching, idolizing. I had the chance to work with them on a music video. So how do you walk away from that? So I got trapped. So now I'm in my 40s.
I got trapped.
I got trapped. So now I'm in my 40s, and the last 5 years or so, I done rediscovered my passion for feature films. So, I've had a chance to do a couple of films since in the last 5 years, and that's where I'm headed to now. Like, right now, I don't do as much music videos as I used to because I've been focusing on my feature films. I shot 2 last year, and we've been editing all year long. And I got another $1 million movie that we have coming up. We're going into pre-production for another month and a half called Suddenly Single. And I got another project next year that I'm in prep for with rapper Cameron. And I got a lot of movies coming up the next 3 years.
So, and within that, creating these films, after, not even just the videos and the film, so after you shoot it, you now got to sit in the editing room and direct that. What's that process like? Oh,
man, I'm going to tell you something. Being on set for 12, 14 hours shooting a movie, people may think that's hard work. That's easy for me. I love being on set, so that's not work. Sitting in an edit session for 14 hours in a room just like this, closed off, soundproofed, and you sitting there for about 8 hours a day watching take after take after take, it's not easy. It's not easy as you may think.
That's what they don't know.
Yeah, post-production is the ugliest part of, I would say, of the film process. But, once the movie start to come together and you get to see the fruits of your labor in front of you on screen, it becomes a little easier process to sit through.
I still don't like it, Antwan. Let me tell you. Thank God for Matt, because I do not have to go back in there and sit in there. I lose my mind in that process.
Listen, I used to be an editor when I came out of film school in 2001. I used to be a great editor. Listen, I haven't been an editor since about 2002. I haven't edited in almost 18.
You don't want no parts of it.
About almost 19 years. I don't want no parts of post-production because it's a tedious process and it's very psychological, and I can't handle it.
But it's a very important piece because you got to see the end result of the process. So after during the time right now, you are directing, producing, and creating the show for Trick Dad that you still work with which I think is so amazing that you still working with the internship that you had from writing a letter. That shows the value of investing in yourself, because you really investing in yourself more than the company. And a lot of people don't know that no more. Talk about that a little bit more, how important it is to still invest in the internship and showing who you are and what you could do.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. What I try to tell, I teach master classes in directing every year at some local film festivals here in Miami. I've been doing it for about 3, maybe going on 4 years. And what I teach my students is, look, don't expect, we talked on this earlier, don't expect somebody to give you something. You have to be able to sacrifice your time to obtain what you want, which means don't be looking for a check every time you step out the door. It's so many directors out there that's willing to do it for no money to get where they need to be. So if you want to be great, it has to be something you're willing to do for no money. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. I say this to my students: you have to be willing to do this if it was no money involved. And I could honestly say to you, Beethoven, like if I didn't have bills and houses and stuff to pay for, I literally would get up every morning to do this film stuff for free. Like I don't have to get paid for this. And trust me, the money I done missed in my career will prove that. Like, listen, I done missed out on some checks to kind of just do what I love to do at the level I want to do it, whether I was gonna make some money. If I was supposed to make $5,000 on a little small music video, but we need a big techno crane and it costs $4,500, take my money. Like, I need that techno crane. Like, I'm good with that $500.
Why? Why do you do that?
Because I have a passion for this filmmaking, and I have a passion for turning in good work. Even if it comes out of my pocket, I'm not going to turn in no mediocre work because that's just a disrespect to my legacy and to the client. So
yeah, very few people see it like that, Antwan. I think that's a powerful thing.
But I want to finish touching base, like, just to let people know, like, look, don't worry about the money. I just want to leave this with you, on this topic. Don't worry about the money. And that's my advice to, anyone out there that's aspiring filmmaker. Don't worry about the money. It's going to come. And like I said, B, you've been with me over a decade, and you seen where I started out from to now I'm on the show with a little suit, some designer glasses on. The money's going to come. I promise you. I'm in my man's studio right now. I mean, we in a nice big studio, and I see where my man started from. We were doing interviews in one of my edit sessions at Rhino Studios one time.
Yeah, back in the day.
And now you got your own studio. And I just want to let people know the money is going to come. Don't worry.
Absolutely. And I think for me, talk about the partnership also with studios. Because a lot of guys, now we create studios, but you started off with creating partnership with studios.
Yeah. Listen, that's another thing. I got lucky early in the game. I met a few people in my life. My man Lenny Gonzalez, he owned a company called Rhino Studios. And what I did was I was like, okay, Lenny, you have gear, you have cameras, you have editing facility. I got clients. We're gonna partner. We're gonna be a partnership. I know you charge this for this and you charge this for that, but I'm gonna give you this, and I'm not gonna come to you one time. We're gonna work for the next 5 years together. The next 10 years, we're gonna work together and get this money together. And that's the partnership I developed with him. And then even with the studios where we go shoot these videos or movies at, M3 Studios, I would tell the owner, like, look, I got clients, high profile clients I do videos for. Listen, sometimes I can't afford that $2,000 a day thing. If you give it to me for this, I'm going to make sure they come and do these videos. I brought Rick Ross to M3 Studios early on, and now Rick Ross still shoots at M3 Studios when he's in Miami. He didn't know nothing about M3 Studios until I brought him there in 2007, 2008. And we did like 2 or 3 videos over there. So, try to my aspiring filmmakers, try to partner up with a production company. Try to partner up with somebody that owns gear, and you guys get money together.
So now, from the relationship that you invested, which we're still on the topic, you now are still working with Trick Daddy that you started off with Slip and Slide record. Speak about a little bit about the show, Bitch, I Got My Pots.
Oh, yeah.
And how that whole thing even started.
Oh, yeah. Well, like you said, Trick Daddy and I met Trick Daddy in 1996. I was working at a grocery store, and he used to come in there, and bothered me about helping him find some stuff. And then we got to work together 2 years later at Slip and Slide Records in 98. So I've been knowing him literally, it's like 25, 26 years. And so the show, Bitch, I Got Our Pots, which is like we're number one urban cooking shows out there, number one in our market. The show came about with one of my good friends, Corey Evans, and his partner, EJ Jenkins. And they came to me in 2019 about wanting to do a show. And I didn't really take Corey serious at first, only because Corey a music guy. He's he's an entertainer. He travels with Missy Elliott and Trina. And I was like, okay, whatever y'all ready, let's do it. And I think he hit me probably about 10 times about, hey, let's sit down and talk about this show. And I never really came to the meeting. It wasn't until 2020 during the pandemic, he was like, okay, Tom, I'm really trying to do this show. And he started making preparations to bring this show to life. So another year passes, 2021, he gets the studio. You know, he lays the foundation with Trick about, hey, he pitched the project to Trick about this show. And we decided we're gonna do it. So another few months went by. It's now 2022, January, and we decided, hey, it's time to shoot. It's time to do this. And our first show, we filmed February 7th of this year, 2022. And we haven't looked back. We're about 30 shows in right now. And we have had multiple offers from some networks that want to come in and either take over the show or partner up with us. And we haven't signed with anyone only because we just holding out for, the best deal. So
Right one.
the right one. And the show does well. We've had DJ Khaled. We've had CeeLo Green. We've had Rick Ross. We've had some of the biggest entertainers and actors in the world come on our cooking show.
What's the process of even building that show out?
Yeah, well, when you say building out, you mean like what, the set or just the format?
Well, yes, a little bit of all that,
Okay.
From your team, crew, building a show out.
Yeah, well, basically everything starts out with the concept of the show, which, Corey and EJ had a concept. And the next phase is, okay, we have to hire a crew. And basically I took my guys who I work with in my movie and music video industry.
Relationship again.
I brought them in and I was like, all right, guys, we now do TV shows now. And we came in and we brought all our cinematic techniques from the movies and we brought it to the TV show, to the web show, for the cooking show. And this is why I think when you watch the Trick Daddy Bitch I Got a Pot show, it's a little different than your average podcast show. We use cinematic cameras. We frame our angles different. Our sound is different. And, I'm very proud of it. But we have an art designer that we brought in to design the set. We had a white canvas. And when you look at the show now, it's like, Timbaland almost was in tears when he came to the show and he just seen the set because he said it reminded him of his grandmother's house. So, or the vibe did at least. And that's a testament to our art designer, art director, Carolina Martinez, Caro as we call her. And these guys, my crew, they really make the show what it is. And I got to give it to Corey, the executive producer, Corey, aka CEO, and EJ. These are great executive producers. They make sure we have all the money we need for the show. They make sure people know about the show, and they make sure we get the talent that we need to the show. So, I got to give it to them.
So that part, one of the things you said that was so key is having the right budget. Because a lot of clients don't understand the importance of that. Speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, budget. You're gonna never be on the same page with with your client with the budget because everybody think you can get everything done for $500. Yeah. That's a little running joke of the music video industry. Everybody wants to do a music video for $500, but they want to look like a Missy Elliott video.
Absolutely.
So that's a little running joke. But at the end of the day, listen, you have to always be honest with your client and present a budget to let them know this is what it costs to make your dream that's in your head or your vision that's in your head come to life. And you have to justify it. You just can't say, oh, I need, $1,000 for a light. You have to make sure you're going to get the use out of that light and not just billing for it because you just want it on a truck just in case. So it's important that you do budget your projects correctly and that you do fight for the proper budget to execute your project because otherwise you're going to end up with a music video or whatever projects you're shooting with an unhappy client and they're going to be looking for their money back. So, take my advice.
So with the business of content today, like a show similar to Bitch I Got My Pots and other shows, what does the business side look like? So I know you got to make the first investment, which is filming it.
Yep.
And then what's the process of that?
Well, of course, yeah. You have to make your investment with, like I say, filming it, meaning you have to invest in your crew. You got to put a crew together, make sure you got your payroll for that. You have to make sure your look is good. Invest in a little set design. If you're doing a show, invest, bring in an art director to help you with that. Make sure your lighting is good. But before you even get to that, let's take it back just one step before you get to even bringing in a crew. People don't understand that you need to have a marketing budget for your show before you even get started. Even before you build you pitch your podcast show, see how much it's going to cost to market and promote it. Find out what YouTube ads cost. Find out what Google ads cost. Find out what your ads cost, Beethoven, for you running it through your media network. People need to do the research on that. Put that budget aside first, then go get your crew, then go build your set, then go shoot your podcast or your TV series or your cooking show.
And then the business is to place ads within the show, or
which I'm going to get into. If you have a product that a advertiser feel like they can make money on, you have a host or you have an artist that could be coming on, or actor that been coming on, they feel like, okay, if I had my bottled water on set of this podcast show in front of the mic while DJ Khaled is here, hey, I think I'll sell a few more waters that week. And they will give you money to have that cup with their logo on it, or that water with their logo on it, to have on your show.
Is there a process of even that where, because I think a lot of people think they're going to get to the money right away, where they don't really even build a brand or like all those things.
You said it. Before the advertisers even give you $1 of money, you have to build a brand. Trick Daddy, he's been doing this 25 years. He has a brand already. Everybody know what you're going to get when you tune into a Trick Daddy show. And my thing is, too, even if you build in a situation with new people that maybe the industry don't know, if you got a good product and you got your marketing knowledge working for you, where this product is getting the views, you can shoot a movie, you can shoot a podcast or a TV show with newcomers. If your views is there because you did your marketing and you did your networking, then the advertisers are going to come. And as far as advertisers, you have to sometimes do your own research. You have to sometimes call the paper towel company and say, hey, I have a show that does about 1 million views a week across all our platforms, and we're a cooking show. And if you want to do some business with us, put your product on the show and cut us a check, and watch how many more products of paper towels you're going to sell.
So is that investment, is that investment typically for the people that's already established when they make that opportunity happen, or is that something that people can start earlier on while they're building?
Well, I'll say this. Usually it's the product placement stuff or sponsorships happen with the people that's more established. But what I'm saying is you can still get to that same you can get to that same product placement bag if you did your marketing beforehand to get your views up. I don't think, for example, that paper towel company cares if it's Susie from around the block being the host of that show or it's Trick Daddy the host of that show. If Susie is getting 1 million views per episode and Trick Daddy's getting 900,000 views per episode, and though he's been around 25 years, they're gonna give that product placement budget to Susie, who's getting 1 million. That extra 100,000 matters, and they're gonna give that deal to that person. So it's really about putting out good content, and it's about marketing your show, product, or whatever it is you're doing to get those advertising dollars. I'm telling you, the bag will come.
So do you believe that business is a very lucrative business for people to get into?
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you. Let's take that paper towel company. Listen. You my man, Beethoven. So I just give the game for free this one time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, I keep yelling about the marketing company. We had a paper towel company that wanted to just offer us $50,000 just to have their for the cooking show, just for us to have their paper towel things on our on the cooking table that Trick cook on. And we didn't take that deal because we got multiple offers, which I won't say what the numbers are, but way more than 50 grand. My thing is, yes, you can make a lot of money. Advertisers don't product placement people or product placement people. They don't come with something like, I'm going to give you $1,000. These guys come with $50,000. They come with $25,000 because you got to
per show
per show, not for 10 shows. Per show, they're going to give you that 50 bands. Per show, they're going to give you that $10,000 or $25,000. You got to realize That's a bit bad to us because that's a lot of money for some paper towels. But these guys have $1 million budgets. Downty paper towels, they're going to spend $10 million on advertising this year across the United States. A commercial to run nationally is going to cost them $500 to $1 million.
So now it's actually more affordable with this type of digital platform.
Listen, I'm going to give the game for free right now. Downty is going to spend $10 million to make sure that somebody in California, Idaho, Texas, Atlanta, New York City can watch Sunday football that's coming on Sunday coming up, to make sure you see their product during halftime. They're going to spend $10 million for that. But to them, it's a little bit more lucrative if I give Trick Daddy $50,000 per episode, and I'm going to get 1 million views on that. And on top of those 1 million views, I'm going to get for giving him $50,000. Those same people are going to share that Trick Daddy show clip. Trick Daddy not only will get about 1 million views on our episodes, people on Facebook share the link 3,000 more times. So
the visibility is the most important piece.
So we're getting 1 million views for Downey paper towels, plus 3,000 more people are going to share it with 3,000 other people. So now I got another 3. That might turn to 10,000 people by the time those shares reach where they're going to reach. So Downey is feeling like, okay, yeah, I can spend 50 bands a show on these people because I'm getting over. Trick Daddy think he might be getting over. I'm actually saving millions of dollars by giving these guys 50 bands.
So you believe that's the reason most people now should start creating their own content?
Absolutely. And trust me, listen, I'm only talking about paper towels. We have a cooking show where we have seasonings. We have paper towels. We have dish detergent where we wash our dishes in the middle of the show sometimes. Oh, we got $1 million worth of product placement opportunities just on our cooking table. And that we decided we haven't taken advantage of because we got a bigger bag over our head right now.
So now what about the actual, you guys selling your own product within the show?
I'm going to tell you something. This is the funny part about it. On our particular show, we haven't even tapped into our merch yet. And that's the thing. Merch is important too. Your branding is important. We haven't even, everybody wants the little Trick Daddy aprons. We haven't even set up for that yet. And in a word, that's coming, everybody. And merch is very important.
I got you guys for all that.
Yeah. Hmm?
That's why I'm coming down next week.
I got you.
Yeah. But I think for me, I want to give the people the information that content creation is a very lucrative business.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's opportunities to make, cash flow, real money in this.
Listen, I didn't mean to go long-winded on it, but I really wanted people to know this is how you make money on your podcast show. No matter how little you think it is, this is how you make
video
money.
Podcasting, especially.
Video podcast. Excuse me. This is how you make money on doing video podcasting. And I didn't even tap into what YouTube is going to pay you once you monetize your account. I think after 10,000 followers. YouTube is going to give you a check.
1,000 followers.
Yeah, 1,000 followers. YouTube is going to give you a check for getting a certain amount of views every week once your account is monetized. Instagram, I can't remember. Instagram give you a check, but yeah, Instagram gives you a check. So guys, if you put a couple $1,000s into some Google ads, so when people Google your show is at the top or whatever, trust me, you're gonna get that. Them little $2,000 you spend, which is probably all the money in the world, because it is to me. You're gonna get 10, 20, 30,000 potential worth of product placement business per show because you spent $2,000 for people like me to Google, your show, Beethoven, and I see it's the first thing that pop up. So now I'm like, oh, okay, this show must be kind of popular. Let me watch it. It's gonna make me watch it. And then I'm gonna see the content, which you're doing great content on this show.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan. And now I know, okay, this guy has a quality show. He has great content. Maybe if
he has a table, he can play stuff.
He has a table. So maybe if I just give him a coffee cup with my company's name on it, his thousands of followers are probably gonna now go buy that coffee in the grocery store now that they've been seeing every week now. And I'm telling you, they're gonna cut you a check. It's their job. Let me just say this. It's these product placement reps' job to go find people like us, content creators, to give us a check. We don't have to beg. You just have to be visible to them. You have to just make sure they see you. And that's worth the investment.
So consistency, visibility,
Yeah.
of course, quality.
Absolutely.
They're looking for you.
Absolutely. They're going to come give you a check. Trust me. Down T Paper Towels do not want to keep spending $10 million every week. They rather give you 50 bands per show and they keep the change. And they keep the change so they can do other things. They prefer to do that.
You believe that's, of course you do. That's where the industry is going now. With these short form content that is less investment than the $10 million commercial on Super Bowl.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, this is where the industry is going. Even this is where it's at. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to use Trick Daddy's Facebook page as a model. If you go visit Trick Daddy on his fan page on Facebook, he doesn't just put our cooking show clips on there. He has clips from just things from around the country, incidents that might have happened, because he gets millions in views on that, which equals out to visibility and a check.
So that's crazy. So but a lot of people, speak about this often. Content is a new currency.
Yep, absolutely.
And for your industry, I want you to add some value to that. How content is a new currency.
I'm gonna tell you something. The COVID era in 2020, it kind of was the gift and the curse. It was a curse because people lost lives, and that's never a good thing. But it was the gift because if you're on the entertainment side of the situation, that's when people realized content was everything during the summer of COVID, when COVID went down. And this is when people were staying home, watching TV, and wanting more. And this is when you finally realize how important content was to Americans or to viewers. And I don't think this wave is ever going to go back before COVID, where content was like, okay, cool, somebody got a new podcast show. Oh, somebody got a new cooking show. Now people are looking every week for what's the new podcast show. That's why you got so many podcast shows and people getting into it, because it's a demand for it. And I don't think it's ever going to go out of style.
So do you think, knowing that it's a demand, I speak with people often telling them these network companies, these large, they're looking for content. Mm-hmm. Speak a little bit about that, Antwan, please.
I'm going to tell you, listen, it's sites out there like Fox Soul, they're digital content, network. We've done some business with them. And just go look at Fox Soul and the content on there. They're just one of the sites of hundreds out there that's looking to give you a check to put your content on there. If you got a good show, a good talk show, you got some good content to put out there, they will pay you to do what you was already doing, just to put it on their site, and you're gonna get rich doing it if it's about you getting money.
How does that deal work out? Is licensing deal what?
Yeah, you basically, you already said it, but basically, when somebody like a Fox Soul come in, what they do is they'll say, okay, we love your show. We want to order, just like a studio would do if we had a sitcom together. They'll say, okay, we ordering 10 episodes. And they'll give you a big bag to go shoot them 10 episodes that you are licensing to them. So if I'm doing 10 episodes for Fox Soul, where I can't really give those 2 episodes to YouTube anymore, because Fox Soul's got the exclusive licensing. They can put it wherever they want to put it. And they decide to put it on YouTube, that's fine, but that's their 10 episodes. So you basically licensing your product to them for a check.
And when you say they're purchasing the 10 episode, are they paying for the production also? They're paying for everything.
They're paying for everything. Like I say, they're basically sponsoring the production for them to own the rights to it. So they pay for everything.
Is there a certain timing they own it for? Or could they own it outright? Or that's all through contract?
It all depends on what you negotiate. Yeah. So it's basically if they're gonna own it for life, well, you make sure that bag matches that deal. If they're gonna own it only for 6 months, then your bag is gonna be for 6 months. And it's up to what you negotiate.
Is that what most people? The strategy, let's talk about strategy now, that content creators could do to get to a certain position. Should they create to get monetized on YouTube, get product placements, create licensing deals, or is it all the above?
You said the words out of my mouth. It's actually all of the above. Listen, everybody wants to do a show. Usually, when people do a show, they do it for a reason. I watch your show to find out, what's going on where I'm from, and to get, find out what's going on in the politics game or what's going on in business and finance. I can watch your show, and it's a good deed to do the show you do, so people like me get the information. But at the end of the day, this is always a business. The lights have to be paid in here. Crew have to be taken care of in here. So you have to want to do all of the above. You have to want to do your show. It's not just you being a good person giving me information. It's a business, and you have to treat it like a business.
And that's converting into. I think what I'm understanding you're saying is having the passion to bring value. With that bringing value, you got to do the business side of it.
Absolutely.
And just understand different ways you can monetize it.
Absolutely. If you have your business correct, and you're going to be able to do this show for the next 2 decades if your business is correct. What's the point of doing this and not really having your business for this incredible show not to be on the air 6 months from now? That doesn't benefit anybody. So you have to come in with a great idea and with quality and with a business plan of the goal to want to monetize your show to keep it going, so people get what they need to get from it.
So just having a passion to bring value is one thing.
Yes,
but you got to convert to the business side of it.
Absolutely, 100%.
So I'm telling you, Antwan, I think for me,
yeah,
I'm very impressed by everything you've done, man. Because the artists that you work from, Chris Brown to everybody that you work with, and to still be in the industry and to convert now going into the not the podcasting, but that new wave of short content that's bringing value into that space of the cooking with Trick Daddy, what you're doing. I think it's a game changer. Yeah. Are you looking to get involved with more shows?
Yeah, right now we have a few shows we developing. We got the Trick Daddy cooking show. We have a couple of podcast shows we developing. One with we may do one with Trina. We may end up doing one with Trick Daddy. On my side, outside of the media projects I have, on my filmmaking side, like I said, I got some projects in development, and I'm looking to bring a TV series out here to Miami next year that I'm hoping to get on the network. So we're in the development stage of that project. So we working.
I'm excited. I know it's gonna be all right.
Oh yeah.
I know it's gonna be all right, man. So man, Antwan, man, thank you, man. Like I said, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would want to talk about, that you want to leave on the table?
Well, just to close it out, I always give my students a saying too. I always says being in this business, and this may apply to life too. They say it's who you know is what will get you in, but it's what you know that will keep you in. And I live by those words. Of course, knowing somebody can bring you into a situation, but if I bring you into a room full of 500, I forgot how he said, those executives that makes the Forbes 500 list, and you don't know how to move in that room, you're not going to be in that room very long. So you have to get into your space, learn your craft. Don't wake up in the morning pretending you a podcaster or you're a host if you're not going to do the research and you're not going to do what it takes to become good at what you're doing. You can't just put a mic in your face and say, okay, now I'm a podcaster or now I'm a TV show host. You have to do your research and you have to practice talking on camera. You got to know how to speak into a mic. In other words, you have to perfect your craft.
Respect the game.
And everything else will follow. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're a good person, people are going to gravitate to you. If you learn your craft and do good work, more work is going to come. It's pretty much, if you knock a glass of water over, something's going to get wet. It's the laws of physics. If you do good work, physics is going to bring good people to you to do more business with you. That's just the way it works. And I would say just Network, be good to people, be humble. I got a post I put up on my Instagram a few weeks back, and it's just saying be humble. And people are gonna want to do business with you.
See you Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Good being on the show, bro.
Thank you, man. See you soon, good people.
All right, cool.
Peace.
Man, that was a good show, right?